Thank you, Honorable Chair. I must say, reading the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples was a wonderful experience to me, although it was not the first time, but it read a lot like the election manifesto of the Freedom Front Plus. You know, it refers to communities' right to devise their own education, to have their own government structures, to even apply their own health services, to invest and into developing their own economy, to define themselves, not to be defined by some other institution or state or whatever. These are really fundamentally very important for any country where there is one or more than one ethnic group, the way South Africa in fact is. Now, if you have a lot of different ethnic groups in the country, there's always two basic ways to deal with it. The one is to recognize and accommodate it, and therefore to alter the constitutional dispensation in such a way that it is not just some dead letter somewhere in the constitution or somewhere in some declaration, but that it is the active reality of every day, that every cultural group has the right, but also the duty to look after their own identity and their own interests. The other way, which is unfortunately more common in Africa and especially in South Africa under the leadership of the ANC, is to ignore it and to repress it, except for some, as I mentioned, some cosmetic, let's say, nods of the head towards that. Now, if we look at this declaration, there is a dichotomy between the state at large, where everyone should have equal rights, and then to the indigenous community and its traditional areas, where those communities have the right to exclusivity. So we have both. We have traditional areas which are well defined, where identity is well defined, and where exclusivity is actually, and this is by the UN, recognized as a necessary part of having a peaceful accommodation of different cultures. But then, in the state at large, nobody who claims their own self-determination in their own traditional areas in that way forfeit their right in the state at large. It is complementary. It is not in opposition to each other. And that is extremely important. It's important for communities like Richtersveld, like Elim, like Taung, like Sekhukhune, but it's also very important for a community like Orania, which asserts exactly that right, exactly the right to determine our own health, our own government, our own economy, our own development in our own area, without disregarding the rights of anybody else in the state at large. Now, if you want to deal with that in a way that that cultural diversity does not create tension, you have to accommodate it. If you repress it, then you exactly create the tension one wants to go away from. I thank you.